Moment of silence for the men and women in the armed forces, our first responders, our veterans, those fighting a good fight in the Ukraine, and those suffering from military conflict in the Middle East. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Reads.
American's Creed.
Okay. The American's Creed by William Tyler Page. I believe in the United States of America, government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy and a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrifice their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies.
Thank you. Paul, do we have anyone that would like to
We
speak
do.
tonight?
Irene Stragall.
Hello. New Milford, Connecticut, and the country will be caught. Irene Scribilo, 205 Pumpkin Hill Road. Will be caught in a healthcare crisis in 2020. In 2026. In New Milford, almost 600 people will lose coverage entirely, and 1,676 will be affected, and this particular figure does not include Medicaid. Officials with the Connecticut Insurance Department announced they have signed off on an average rate hike of 16.8% for the 2026 state-regulated individual health care plans. They also approved an average increase of 11% on small group policies. This could be catastrophic to a lot of families. These plans collectively cover about 224,000 residents. 158,000 in individual policies and 66,000 in small groups in Connecticut. In terms of Medicaid, 3.5% of the people will lose coverage. That's 1,050 people. The rate hikes come amid a flood of federal health policy changes, new cuts to Medicaid, tighter restrictions on care in community centers, and expiring federal subsidies. On top of that, homelessness is on the rise, up 10%, and this represents people living in shelters or outside on January 2025 in Connecticut. Many were priced out of the housing market, as I discussed last town council meeting, or lost subsidies. New Milford is not immune from this. People are slipping into poverty. This can be measured by the ALICE methodology used by United Way in their poverty assessment. An acronym, it stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. It's an alternative to the longstanding federal poverty level. This share of ALICE households in New Milford grew from 26% in 2019 to 44% in 2023. This affects your town, and you really need to be prepared to address it. Hopefully you'll start working on it before 2026 when this all kicks in. Another thing I wanted to mention, I went to the 9/11 ceremony, and it was very touching. It was lovely. You gave a wonderful speech, Mayor. I can't imagine there was one person who was not affected. It was really a lovely, lovely day, and it really emphasized everything that America can and should be. And it was a powerful day. I used to work at on Liberty Street, so it really holds a special place for me. However, the day after, on 9/12, the flags flew at half-staff for propagandists who promoted hate and division. His words are the antithesis of the 9/11 message that we heard in town. Some of his words: gay people should be stoned to death. Most people are scared when they see a black pilot flying a plane. No one should be allowed to retire. The guy who assaulted the Pelosi should be bailed out. Religious freedom should be terminated. I can go on. There were towns that and counties that did not fly put the flags at half staff. That includes Bergen County and Johnson County Board of Supervisors in Iowa said, I condemn Kirk's killing, regardless of who pulled the trigger or why, but I will not grant Johnson County honors to a man who made it his life's mission to denigrate so many of my constituents. This was in Iowa. That's red.
Time.
We can do better, New Milford.
Thank you. Jackie Egan?
Hello, me again, Jackie in Redwood Lane. Thank you for the opportunity to speak my mind to this council. Thank you to the town for recognizing September 17th to 23rd as Constitution Week, and to the DAR for always honoring and commemorating this country's founding history and heroes. Meeting in this building where Roger Sherman walked these halls seems to give all of our public comments a lot more weight and gives the commemoration of our Constitution even more significance. I believe now more than ever is the time for everyone to reread our Constitution and be reminded of the fundamental principles of our nation's government and the powers and separation of powers of our three branches, as well as the fundamental freedoms like the freedom of speech. In that light, I'm here today to voice some observations I've made over the past 23 and a half years owning a home, raising our daughters, and sending them to schools in New Milford. We love it here, but one thing I've noticed in these 23 and a half years is that there has been one Democrat mayor, and the other 19 and a half years the town has had Republican leadership in town hall, the council, and the boards. From my experience, our taxes have gone up regularly and consistently. Our school ratings have gone down. School class sizes have gone up. Teachers and school support services have been cut. And every budget season, there is an attack on the Board of Ed budget, which is developed to support the needs of our students. When we moved here, Bank and Main Streets were thriving and Route 7 wasn't overdeveloped and riddled with empty stores. Today's storefronts are empty. There has been an abundance of blight, stopped construction, building monstrosities, while affordable housing has become non-existent. If the homestead exemption makes landlords and businesses cover more of the tax burden, rents will go up for businesses and families, leaving more empty storefronts and struggling working people. Ideas for tourism and commerce around our natural resources and recreation are fought against or stalled, and investigations into clean drinking water are silenced. I haven't
30
seen.
seconds, Jackie.
Thank you. I haven't seen a whole lot of vision for our future, but I have witnessed a whole lot of stagnation, and our population is aging. I understand there are many challenges, and I thank the mayor for his hard work and dedication. Nobody questions how hard you work and the dedication, and for everyone who volunteers on these boards. So we're all grateful. But I know we can do better. We are the best town in the world, and I know we can do better. I invite you all to a free movie at the New Milford Library called Democracy Noir. It is on October 8th, Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And it's sponsored by Act Local, and I would encourage everybody to see what's happening in Orbán's Hungary and how it mirrors what's happening here. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Kapziak?
Good evening. I'm Tom Kapziak, 94 Long Mountain Road. Having now listened to the conversations related to the proposed homestead exemption ordinance, I suggest that the town consider as an alternative an expanded need-based tax deferral program, a targeted needs-based program administered to assist stressed property owners would seem to be less open to being challenged, would appear to be less expensive to administer, and would provide relief to those truly in need. The program could be administered through the joint efforts of the town's Social Services Department, the Senior Center, and the Tax Assessor's Office, who could work together to establish the criterion for participation in the program and the extent to which tax relief would be granted, with the town council giving final approval for the program and having ongoing oversight of it. This would be a narrow tax deferral program rather than a broad tax forgiveness program, and it should therefore have less impact on the town's finances. I am proposing this alternative to accomplish the stated goal of providing tax relief to those in need without incurring the legal liability that the town attorney has warned about, since it would be clearly based on a rational basis for the program, unlike what has been used as the justification for the currently proposed exemption program. Other than the spreadsheet that I have provided, there has been no information provided that will allow the town to predict the impact of the current revaluation. Extrapolating from a situation that existed 25 years ago is treacherous, since we do not understand the background circumstances that required the tax increase at that time. The disparity between the relative values of the residential versus commercial industrial property on the grand list will continue to be an issue and probably worsen, since the town will most likely continue to grow as a bedroom community, providing housing for residents who have to travel out of the area to their places of employment. I doubt that the town will prevent further residential development, and will probably also be unsuccessful in securing commercial industrial development of the scale of the Kimberly-Clark facility or the former Nestle facility.
30 seconds, Tom.
The underlying market and geographic forces driving the increased value of residential property and the desirability of the town as a site for large-scale commercial industrial development appear to be in many ways outside the town's control. I'm hoping this alternative receives some serious consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. That's it, Larry.
I'd like to move item 4A, B, and C.
Thank you, Mayor. Any discussion on the consent agenda? All those in favor?
I'd like to read into the record the item 4C. The 9/11 Memorial Committee had asked to accept the following donations. They received $601 from an anonymous donor, $250 from Geraldine and Frank Gorleone, $250 from Dwayne Acton, $250 from VFW Post 1672 for 2 curved benches that will be placed at the 9/11 Memorial on Patriots Way. Additionally, the new September 11th Memorial Maintenance Committee requests permission to accept $44,224.61 in total credit card donations made for 2 curved benches to be placed there in the memorial circle. Any funds in excess of what are required to purchase the 2 benches will be utilized to support the 2026 ceremony, recognizing the 25th anniversary of September 11th, 2001 attacks, and continued support for annual ceremonies.
Second.
Thank you.
Before
Okay.
that, over there is an adjustment to that, right?
Yes, from
Today?
BMW it was 500 instead of 250. I had to check in today.
Yep.
Good. Okay.
Yes, so it's 500 instead of 250.
Okay, good.
Can we amend your motion?
Sure. I'd like- Right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to read those.
Okay.
They were so
Second.
fast for me.
Can we amend the motion?
Certainly.
Okay.
I'd like to amend my motion and change the, is it both 250s or just one?
It comes from, instead of 250, 500.
Goes to 500. And so that's another $250 on top.
Yep.
Okay. Need a second?
Second.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Chris. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Okay.
Next, we have the Youth Agency. They're here back again. And our new Student Advisory Board, come on up.
Hi, Town Council members. My name is Dominic Kudik, and this is
Emma Coleman.
Could I
I'll
ask you,
mention-
excuse me, could you just make that put that microphone a little closer to you and raise it up to meet your height there so we can hear you. People at home have trouble hearing.
Is this better?
That's fine.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
I'm a junior and Emma is a senior, and we're very excited to update you on what the youth agency has planned for the upcoming month, along with some ideas for the future. So our primary goal for this upcoming month is to host another successful movie night at Lynn Deming, which is a collaboration with Parks and Rec. Last year, we had a super successful hosting showing Friday the 13th with a very large attendance of students. This year, on October 17th, from 6:30 to 9 p.m., we will be playing the movie Annabelle with grades 9 through 12 able to attend. Meals, drinks, and ice cream will be provided via food trucks. Myself and the manager of the New Milford Youth Agency media team, Cole, will be filming a promotional video along with some New Milford High School student actors. We are very excited to host this event and are looking forward to a large group of students attending. In the upcoming months, we have a lot more plans and more events that we'd like to host. The biggest one being our second multicultural fair happening sometime in the spring of 2026. Our last multicultural fair held in spring of 2024 at Pettibone went very well, with a decent amount of attendees. However, the youth agency wants to go even bigger this time.
The current goal is to host the fair on the green and get support from many of the other town agencies and a lot more support just from the community overall. We plan to continue college and career readiness opportunities like trips to open houses, and we also are planning a lot of team building trips like escape rooms and other fun destinations. We're planning on going to the United Nations Youth Service Bureau Day at the Capitol and going to Carnegie Hall again. And lastly, some other notable extra events that may happen in the future are a drive-in movie at Lynn Deming sometimes in spring or summer 2026, Pickle Fest and Slime Fest sometime in spring or summer 2026. The Student Advisory Board is hoping to hold events like this for middle schoolers because currently we don't have a lot of events that are suited for them. And we also are planning an Autism Awareness Month event. And finally, thank you so much for your continued support. We cannot wait to update you next month on more future events and the success of ones we are planning right now.
Great job. Could I ask you a question? What's your name?
Emma Coleman.
Emma, okay. Yes. Oh, Emma Coleman. Okay, thank you.
Great job, guys.
Mayor's comments, item 6.
And to start off mayor's comments, very excited to have our wonderful leaders of the McCarthy Observatory are here tonight.
I think so.
And they're going to talk about something wonderful that's going to be happening at the McCarthy Observatory.
That's right.
One second, Mayor, sorry.
No worries.
I think you're gonna have to do something with that device scan notification. That's for scanning your thumb drive. It shows Dave Watson's on the ball.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Oh, I have the clicker.
Give your name before you start.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, sir.
We're excited to be here, and we have an exciting new project we'd like to discuss with you.
State your name.
I'm Monty Robeson, the director of the observatory. So we're proposing to put another dome right next to the existing observatory, and it'll be where the sunflower garden was, so it's not going to take up any more space. But we'll talk a little bit about the whole plan here. So the reason for it is, with the new upgrade that we did last year, we want to make sure that the we're so busy that we don't have time or telescope time to do everything that we want to do or that the students want to do. So it's been great. 25 years ago, we started the project and did as much as possible ourselves. And these are some of the images of it. So our mission is to further science literacy and promote critical thinking skills among the students and the adults in the region. And we think we've done a pretty good job of that so far. We've done a lot of special events and a lot of group events at the observatory and won a lot of awards for some of the students. Here's our new telescope, and it really is amazing compared to the old one, but it goes just exactly where we want it to go, and it's in focus all the time. It's really fantastic. I'll turn it over to John.
Thank you, Monty. John Gabauer, and also a director at the observatory. I came before you about 18 months ago and asked to support this project. I'm happy to say we've met nearly every one of our goals. Student engagement has increased, our science has improved, public outreach is in greater demand than it ever has been. That's created new problems. Okay? We have one telescope, very few clear nights, and everyone wants to use it. So we have another plan. And I will skip to the end first and say we're not asking for anything today. We're just giving you a report on what we're doing. Okay? So the benefits, we're going to add a second dome to the observatory. And the benefits of this second dome will allow us to have two groups working at the same time. We'll be able to support more students, more outreach, and more science. It's a good thing. We're going to create a remotely controlled dome and telescope so that students and volunteers and anyone can operate the telescope from their home. Okay, and so this will increase the availability greatly. We don't have to, we have a lot of protocols. If a student wants to be there, we have to have two volunteers there, never one-on-one. Parents have to drive the students to the place, sit out in their parking lot and do whatever they do in the parking lot. So we have a lot of excitement over adding this capability. Okay, we'll be able to pre-program activities for our science totally overnight. So over the last few days, we've been imaging one of these asteroids you hear about that might impact Earth. We've been there till 5, 6 in the morning. And as Mania likes to say, if you're going home when the sun is coming up, it's been a good night. So, so those are the reasons that we want a second dome. You may know that we submitted a grant application to the Planetary Society. We've done this for 17 years, something like that straight. This year we got it. Wow. Okay, so we were awarded a grant of $10,000 specifically to support this project. 10 grants were awarded, 2 in North America, and we were one of them. Okay? Now, one of the reasons that we've been able to do this is because of the results that we've been delivering to the planetary defense area of science. Since we've gotten our new scope, our rankings in the world have been improving, and we're in the top. So we can see this right here. In May, we were ranked 23rd. June, 43rd. July, 21st. Okay? And we continue to do this science regularly.
And John, that's in the world.
That's in the world. Let me give you a little bit more information. Now, you haven't seen this one yet.
No.
Okay, so when we compare those top 21 observatories in July, we like to look at things like the size of the telescope. That's the first chart, aperture. So one of the best ones is about 8 times our size. We're way down on the bottom. We're still on the chart. There's others there with us. But then we look at the sky brightness. Okay, you may have heard us complain that there's a lot of light pollution around here, not really conducive to astronomy. Well, this is what we're up against. Okay, so we're the second worst. The worst one is in Florence, Italy. So I don't know how they overcome that, but they're about twice as bright as our observatory. And then altitude, right? The higher up you are, the less sky you're looking through, better your results. Okay, so we're all the way at the bottom there. We're not even close to anyone else. First 2 are up on mountains in Hawaii, Peru, Chile. So when we say we're 21st in the world, that's of all observatories. Institutional observatories are there. So we like to say we're punching above our weight on this. And again, a lot has to do with the new equipment we put in last year. A lot has to do with the procedures that we've developed, the dedication of our staff, and all the work that our volunteers do. So, Monty already said we have a place picked out. It's on the existing footprint of the observatory. It's a garden right now, and we will be putting a second dome there. Apologies for missing the last meeting. Little miscommunication. We were in Arizona collecting the dome. It is on its way here. It will be arriving Thursday morning.
That's cool.
Okay, so this is where it's going to be. This is what it's going to look like. Okay, it's going to be cool when it's there. All right, we've started already. We don't like to wait around. We did what we could do without getting the CBYD approval and the building permit approval, but we're all prepped. CBYD should be done tomorrow. Building permits in process, zoning's in process, and I understand that there's a planning commission process that we may have missed, but we are working towards this. Okay, it's a used dome that we got. Okay, we want it to be budget friendly, and we have a lot to prove that it's going to work. All right, so we're going to use the old telescope initially during the prove out phase. All right, now we have an aggressive schedule. So we expect to get this done by the end of November. And it's important for us to get it done by the end of November because December 2nd is our 25th anniversary. And we hope to have first light of the new telescope and dome at our anniversary.
That'd be great.
Okay? You will all receive invitations, and I hope you will all join us there.
Absolutely.
So again, this is a near-term test bed using equipment that we said was below par. Last year, that's why we had to replace it. But that's to prove out all the things that we don't know how to do yet. We don't know how to do the remote operations safely. We don't know how to do the automation appropriately. We're going to work that through, and then once we prove that out, we'll look at replacing that equipment.
Great.
Okay?
That's amazing.
So again, thank you for your support all the time. There's no other ask but to come to our anniversary party, whenever that is.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Thanks very much for the presentation. Very interesting. The automation, is that going to be in both domes?
No, just in the second dome.
Just in the second one, okay.
Yeah, there's added complexity with access to everything in the main campus. So we're, yeah.
You mentioned increased engagement, student and community with the new equipment. Can you quantify that at all?
I can't give you a number, that I would like to give you. What I can tell you is that we've had a problem that we've never had before, in that students want to do activities, our science team wants to do activities, and they're in conflict. Okay, so we have a group of approximately 8 students that are highly active. They've been highly active throughout the summer, and we're hoping that they continue through into the fall. School starts, activities start to pile up, and it's hard to get them. We're really happy that it appears that an astronomy club is forming at the high school, and one of those 8 students is leading that charge. So, yeah. So I'd say 8 is the number that I would use as being highly engaged, and that's probably compares to about 3 or 4 normally. So, yeah.
Great. Then one last question, without, I don't mean to get too much in the weeds, but I'm just curious. The ranking of the observatory, what do they measure? Is it the amount of things you're observing, or how do you get ranked?
I'll try to go through this really quick, right? So the process is that someone discovers an asteroid, and the first thing they do is try and find a solution what the orbit is around the sun. Okay. And then they say, well, might that hit the Earth? Right? Because the first time, when you only have one observation, the uncertainty is quite large. And if it might hit the Earth, then it's a probable impact, right? And then it gets on risk lists all over the place. Okay. So if you can reduce the risk that an asteroid might hit us, hit Earth, then you get more points. Okay, that's what it's based on.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So
very interesting.
So what you need to do is you need to be quick to get to it, and you have to have an accurate solution, and that refines the orbit. So they decide, hey, that's not going to hit Earth. So.
And students are a part of all of that.
Students are involved in that.
That's great. Okay, excellent. Thank you.
I just want
Katie?
just a comment. I feel very safe. I've always felt safe in New Milford my whole life, but I'm now feeling safer, knowing that you'll let us know if it's.
I was going to say, the only thing we can promise is let you know. We can't stop.
That's right. But you'll let us know. We can get things in order. This is wonderful. Just wonderful. I don't know. Maybe the shelter that I never built, but thank you.
Thank you.
It's great.
And all your members. 25 years.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I remember when you started, and I think it's a great asset to our town to have you guys in place there. Keep it up. Let us know if that asteroid's.
Well, we'll see you at the 50th anniversary, okay?
Yeah, you'll let us know. I just can't wait. Thank you.
Mary Jane?
Does the high school have an astronomy class as part of their science curriculum?
It's not part of their curriculum, but they have a club that is, they've had it on and off over the years, but it's been off, and now one of the highly engaged students that we have is starting it up again.
Okay.
She's leading it. So
great critical thinking skills, and it uses all that physics and trigonometry and all that kind of good stuff.
It's a high STEM function.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Thank you.
And we do have, not that I don't know if it's important or not, but I would say that our female to male ratio is about 2 to 1, right?
As it should be.
I don't know what that says, but
That's great.
yeah. No, it's been like that. I mean, it's
in general.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. That's awesome.
Good job.
Katie, before we move on, a couple things. First,
thank you.
Kind of back off, thank you to this town council, because we partner with the Board of Ed to really help provide the funding for the new telescope. As you can see, the rewards of that. I'd like to see if the council, before I move on to Mayor's comments, to memorialize this in the minutes, if we could create a motion that we support the adding of the second dome and support their efforts in continuing to expand
Yes.
really our
Certainly.
students' love and those in the community of astronomy, and just a great job. And before you do that, does everybody know that we have a planetarium?
Yes. Yes, he knows that.
I didn't know that until about a year ago.
I know
And then they
that.
rebuilt it. The thing's awesome.
Yes.
All right,
You were
sorry.
quite,
I was
amazed.
digressing.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we memorialize and put into our minutes on this day, September 22nd, 2025, that the new telescope, that will hopefully be here on schedule by the end of November, will improve things for students and adults and the town of New Milford and the world at large.
Thank you. We support the second dome.
It's second dome.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone. And thank you. Really appreciate it. Look forward to the anniversary.
It's great.
It'll be awesome. Okay. All right.
Comments?
Staying on? Yes, thank you, Katie. First, for those celebrating, starting this evening, those that are celebrating Rosh Hashanah may have a blessed Rosh Hashanah. Also, happy first day of fall, as it's autumn. It's already starting, so happy first day to everyone in New Milford. On Saturday, we had Thank a Police Officer Day, and since we didn't have town council on Saturday, but we have it Monday, big thank you to the men and women of the New Milford Police Department for all they do for our community. September 18th was U.S. Air Force's 78th birthday. So happy birthday to the men and women, both active and retired, of the U.S. Air Force for their service. And in honor of the Air Force, we're flying their flag right now at Town Hall. And just a testament to all of those that served. Thank you. A big thank you to everyone that came out on Saturday to celebrate the dedication of a portion of Route 67. Part of that starts in front of Waterwitch Firehouse to George Buckby Sr., who a lot of us knew Mr. Buckby. Some of the amazing things that exemplified him and his community service: 70 years with the New Milford Ambulance. And I heard him tell me he would drive the ambulance when he was 14 years old.
Yeah.
Over 50 years service with New Milford Ambulance. 70 years ambulance, 50 years with Waterwitch. He also was the town clerk for New Milford. He was a former town councilman, postmaster. He was involved with the Scouts. He was also a veteran, just to name a few things. And he was also a very big family man, which is very important. So I wanted to thank Mrs. Buckby and the entire family. They allowed some of us to speak during the dedication, and it's well deserved. So if you do drive by there, right-hand side, you see the big sign where part of the highway is named after him. Want to thank New Milford High School Band and Parent Organization Home Show Chairwoman Rebecca Rancourt and the entire BPO. They allowed myself, Superintendent Parlato, and Principal Manka. We presented some of the home show trophies. And if you get a chance, you have to go and check out the band's new performance called Slither. Amazing show, and a great job by all of the band members. Also, band director David Sizdek and all the parents. Just an amazing performance, and they took first place in their division at the home show. So great job to them. The New Milford Police Department is going to be setting up their 6th annual Citizens Police Academy. They're going to be on Thursday nights from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. starting on October 2nd. And if you're interested in doing that, what you'll experience is hands-on activities like mock traffic stops, crime scene investigations, presentations from specialized units like the K-9 team, the dive team, the aviation, the drone, the detectives, the dispatch. Also, they're going to allow you to use the simulator, which is we used ARPA money for that, which is de-escalating simulators for that, so you'll be able to partake in some of that. And then also, who can be with this? Residents, business owners, community members. They want to learn more about local policing. And if you're interested, you can contact the police department and know more and sign up. And it's great to see we actually have one of our officers that started out in the Citizens Academy, and now is a police officer for the town of New Milford. Some of the infrastructure that's going on, Vancar Bridge, the replacement project's just about completed. Today, the contractor installed the expansion joints and placed sealant on the portions of the bridge today. The second bridge that we're working on now is the Sand Road Bridge. The contractor had 2 crews out today working on the site. One crew is excavating out the old southern abutment. The second crew is forming the new abutment footings on the north side. The Upland Road Drainage Project, that's a very large project that's going on. The contractor tomorrow will be working on 2 of the biggest cross pipes, so that means it goes underneath the road. And we're gonna actually be closing that road tomorrow in that particular section because it's just gonna be the piping is so big there. And we'll be posting that in Notify New Milford tomorrow morning. Country Farm Lane Road Project. The contractor continued to work on the installation of curbing on there. And if you are on that road, please take additional caution when you're out and about there. Some of the other bridges that we're putting into the queue, we're looking at Brookside Avenue, and that's going to be done in 2026. Wheaton Road, we're looking at the summer of 27. Walker Brook Bridges, there's 2 of them, 2027. Grove Street, we applied for 1 grant and didn't get it, so Jack and the team are applying for a second round of another grant, the local bridge grant. Squire Hill Road, the same thing. And right now, Still River, we're looking at reviewing our options for that as well as for Boardman. So we'll give you more information as we continue on with that.
Is Squire Hill 2027?
Nope, we're still reviewing options. They're still going through that process. Intersection improvements, so Hine Hill and Grove Street, that's the first traffic light that the town will have. Right now, we're waiting for Connecticut DOT to finalize their final review, and then it goes back to Westcog for final approval, and then it goes out to bid. So we're looking at spring, summer of next year for that first traffic light. East Street and Elm Street, and that one is right here at the corner, right up above, right by the hospital. And the goal is to widen that intersection, and in so doing, putting in left-hand lanes, which then will ease some of the traffic congestion, especially if you're coming up from Grove and you get stuck as one person's looking there to make a left and you can't go around them. So that right now, we are waiting for the finalized estimates. And one thing that, speaking with our DPW crew, with Jack Healy, we're trying to do these projects at night now in these areas. And the reason being is, obviously, we do see some congestions during the day. And if we can help alleviate those congestions because of construction, the better for it. Once that's completed, then it goes to Westcog. Then the Pumpkin Hill one, this one's been on our radar for quite some time. That's the really realignment and the expansion of the intersection there, Pumpkin Hill and Still River. We're waiting for some revisions by our engineer, and we had the length of time that we're being stalled on this project was because they wanted some specialists to come in and look for Indian artifacts on that project. So I believe, Jack, that's completed now? Yes. Okay. So now it's just going back to Westcott. The sidewalk project phase 2, we're waiting on some of the bids to come back. And then for those, we brought you up to speed on this, I believe it was in the spring, the Wellsville Avenue reconstruction project. So that's going to be a full depth reclamation of the road and then sidewalks. So it's going to be a whole project together. We're just waiting for the engineer to finalize their revisions. Then it goes back to Connecticut DOT. And remember, we got a grant for this. Just like we got a grant for Mariel Road. We received $1 million last year. So we're going to be working, hopefully do that in some form of tandem to get that whole area completed. Then some of the Aquarian Water continues to do some of their water main replacements. They did Mallett's Lane, They're now going to be moving to Brookside, Elm Street Extension, Treadwell, Summit, and Aspetuck Avenue. And as a reminder, when we've spoken with Aquarian, Jack and his team have made it clear that they'll be doing repaving from shoulder to shoulder. So some towns you see where the line is, they just do it there. Jack and his team, we've made it so that it is the full length, shoulder to shoulder of the road. Some of the other things that are going on as well. Katie, I'm glad you asked. Some of the events. First is, right, Da Vinci Award.
Right.
So Katie, I'll let you talk about that real quick.
The Da Vinci Award started with Peter Orensky. For those of you who've lived here long enough, Peter was a wonderful guy around town, cared about the town a lot, and but his business was flags, creating, designing, and he thought that New Milford needed its own flag, so hence the flag we have over here. And he thought we should have a sister city, so Vinci, Italy, is our sister city, and that from there, the Da Vinci, named after Leonardo, award came about for recognition of people who have quietly, mostly quietly, put a lot of time and effort into helping our town in all different facets. And it started back, I think it was 2003 was the first one, was it? No? I thought so.
I was mayor.
You were? Oh, so 2001? Okay, that's better. Anyway, so we have on Saturday, we'll be awarding, right here at noon in E. Paul Martin, we'll be awarding the two people who have made the Village Center for the Arts the place that it is for adults and children. That's Jason Roberts and Sharon Kaufman. And then someone we all know, Walter Bayer, is receiving an award for the many things he has done, aside from his 30 years of teaching school, and unfortunately posthumously for Sean Quigg, who would have received it had he not passed away. So his family will be here to receive that. So it's open to everybody. It's not a long thing, noon to maybe 1:30. And we have cider and cookies. So I hope you can make it, and you'll hear a little more about how each of these people have helped to make this the best town in the USA.
Nice. Like that plug. Best town in the
I know you do. Well, it's true.
And other cool things happening in town, right? So Friday, the Oddfellows Lodge is having their senior breakfast for seniors. Pancakes. They got eggs. They got they got all sorts of great stuff. So
What
8
time is
a.m.
it?
It starts
8
at 8
a.m.?
a.m.
Oh,
How
boy.
long did it have to be?
Don't worry. You qualify. You qualify.
You won't get carded.
They won't. Great.
Right there. And then on Saturday, we have as we always do, the farmers market starting at 9 to noon.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the 5th annual New Milford Apple Festival. That starts at 10 a.m. and goes till 4 p.m. And there's, I believe Pat was telling me, 80 plus vendors. There's inflatables for the kids. There's music. There's a lot of great things for kids, and an apple bake-off.
Right.
Some great baked goods. On the 27th as well at Pettibone, the annual Quaker Tag Sale. If you're interested in finding a few treasures for yourself or a loved one, you can go to the Quaker Tag Sale. On October 4th, 9 a.m. to noon at Nestle Fields, Garrett Farms Park, Family and Children's Day is doing a free baseball clinic in partnership with the town and the Major League Baseball alumni. So there will be former Major League players that will be there and giving them tips on baseball, on life. We've done this now for about 5 or so years. It's great to see all the kids out and see the Major League players giving some tips and advice. On October 4th at 10 a.m. right here on the green is Be Kind Day. That's where we really create the awareness of really what it needs to be kind. Also, we're going to have a road safety program with that as well. Then on October 4th and 5th, Saturday 11 a.m. it starts, Sunday 11 a.m. Down at Youngs Field is Riverfest. And then on October 10th, the youth agency is doing their fall fest. And then as they said up at the podium, on October 10th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., they're doing the, looks like their film at, I'll have to double check on that, the film, which is Annabelle.
The film, yes.
Yep, which is going to be at Lendeming.
Annabelle is a
doll. Yep. And then October 11th starts Harrybrook Park's Scary Park Haunted Trails. That will be going every weekend until Halloween. And then the youth agency again on October 18th on the Southern Green is going to do their multicultural fair. They did their first one last year. It was very nice, very good. On October 18th, 7 p.m. at the Danbury Ice Arena. Great to Live in New Milford night, Danbury Trashers. And we are going to be honoring, I believe it's a little bit over 20 wonderful New Milford residents that night too. Kind of an honor there, so we're going to give more information as we get closer to that.
That's nice.
October 25th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the Green is Halloween on the Green. That's for the younger kids. There'll be a monster petting zoo there. Then there'll be the Halloween parade, which will be going to the stores. And then on October 26th, which is a Sunday, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., trunk or treat right here in the downtown. A lot of good things happening.
Mayor, just one thing you brought up about the professional baseball players are coming.
Yes.
You know, do you think we could get some of the Mets or the Yankees to
There are
come?
a couple Mets that come.
No, to get some advice.
Oh.
Get it?
Like that shot.
Oh, you know you want them. You know,
Nice.
I hear everybody's
Chris?
worried.
Mayor, the road projects you mentioned, East Street, Pumpkin Hill, Wellsville, are those going to be 2026 projects?
Yes. And we have grant funds for that too, so that's good news.
A lot of work. Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Katie, what do we got
Moving
next?
on from roads to item number 7, I'd like to move to approve item 7A, which is the mayor's office asking permission for Church Street to close Church Street from the main to the northwest corner of the town hall parking lot from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and the southern crossover from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, September 27th for the 5th annual Apple Festival. We might as well combine these, and I'll also move item 7B. Mayor's office is also asking to close those same Church Street from Main Street to the north corner from 1 to 3, and the southern crossover from 9 to 3. That's October 25th for the Halloween on the Green. And then finally, item 7C, I would move that we would give the Riverfest people permission to close Youngsfield Road, Housatonic Avenue, and Boardman Road to Medenstill on October 4th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. for the Riverfest New Milford River Run and Kids Superhero Sprint.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Item number 8, I'd like to move that we appoint the following Inland Wetlands Commission Aquifer Protection seat. This would be David Melcher. He'll be an alternate. His term will be from September 22nd, 2025 to January 31st of 2029.
Is David here? There you are, David.
Oh.
I'd like to come up and
You
kind
are.
of introduce yourself to the committee and your lengthy experience, which I think is great.
Hi, everyone. I'm David Melcher. I live on 30 Chapin Road in New Milford. I was born in New Milford Hospital. I graduated from New Milford High School, and after 30 years, I'm back in New Milford. My mother's been here since the early 60s, and my grandmother graduated from East Street High School in 1938.
Good for her.
I am currently a licensed environmental professional. In Connecticut, I'm a principal with a firm called EKI Environment and Water. I'm also the vice president of the Environmental Professionals of Connecticut organization. It's a trade organization for LEPs in Connecticut. I've been a professional consultant for over 30 years. I've been doing this for quite a while. So I look forward to participating in the Inland Wetlands Commission.
When I spoke to David, I thanked him very much for expertise, which would be outstanding.
Yeah, thank you very much for volunteering.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone.
Swear or occasionally be that you carry out the duty assigned to you fairly, faithfully, to the best of your ability, so help you God.
I do.
You're in.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it very
Thanks,
much.
everybody.
Okay, moving on. Item number 9, we have an update from our health director, Ms. Amy Beth G. Housatonic Valley Health District.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So I just want to start with a reminder that it is flu season. So this is the time of the year that we recommend everyone get vaccinated, and we do have a number of flu clinics that are going on across our district. We used grant funding this year to pay for an ad, and this will be screened on NBC as well as Telemundo, and I'm just going to play this for everyone.
Every day we protect the people we love, in big ways and in small ways. Vaccines are one of the easiest and most powerful ways to do that. When you get vaccinated, you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting those around you. Stay healthy together. Be sure yourself and your family members are up to date on seasonal and routine immunizations. A reminder from the Housatonic Valley Health District, serving New Milford, Oxford, Sharon, South Erie, Washington, and Woodbury.
So you may have recognized the New Milford bandstand in that commercial. We used several photos from around New Milford and some of our other towns to really make it a community-based feel. Here in 2025, these are our flu clinics that we'll be hosting. We have a number that are going on in New Milford, as well as some other locations. The flu clinics that are geared towards our seniors and some of our older adults, we will have pneumonia, RSV, and COVID vaccines available at those flu clinics as well.
Amy, flu shot, is it pretty much the same formula? I know they change it every year, but no matter where you get it, if you get it at CVS or you get it here, is it pretty much all the same?
That's correct. There is one strain essentially that they select every year, but it is different year to year, so it's important every year to get your flu shot. So here are some tips and some information that it's important for everyone to know going into flu season. So getting your shots each year is the best way to stay healthy and avoid getting very sick. Flu, COVID, and RSV are all viruses. Viruses are tiny germs that spread when they are inside a host, like a person or an animal. And these germs change over time, so the shots that you got last year don't quite work as well this year. That's why we recommend that you do get your shots every year. October is actually the best month to get your flu shots so that the benefits last all season. That's why most of our flu clinics are held in October. And if you recently had COVID, you should wait about 3 months before getting your shot. If you got the first series of your COVID shot or just got last year's shots, you should wait about 8 weeks before getting this year's shots. So in line with some new recommendations from the ACIP, what we're recommending this year is individual risk-based decision-making. And that's why Connecticut is making sure that folks are very aware of what their risk category is and that we're able to recommend COVID, RSV, flu based on age group and based on high risk or low risk category. So with regard to COVID, babies should start getting their COVID shots after they turn 6 months old. And then there's some additional information. Babies who got the first series of COVID shots should only get 1 shot, etc. For RSV, babies are protected from RSV through their mothers. Pregnant women typically do and should get the RSV shot between 32 and 36 weeks of pregnancy. If mom, for whatever reason, did not or could not get this shot, babies can also get the RSV shot before they're 8 months old or beginning their first RSV season. Babies who are between 8 and 19 months of age and have a higher chance of getting very sick from RSV should also get the RSV shot right before their second RSV season. For flu, most babies should start getting their flu shots after they turn 6 months old. And babies should get the new flu shot every year unless they're told or you're told by your baby's doctor that they cannot get the shot. So now moving on to kids. So for anyone 2 to 18 years old, most kids can get one COVID shot each year. Kids who are at a higher risk of getting very sick should get 2 or more shots, and I'll speak to some of the high-risk categories that exist a little bit later. It is very important for kids to get a COVID shot if they are at risk for getting very sick from COVID, they have never gotten a COVID shot before, they live in a group setting such as a long-term care facility, or they live with family members who are identified as high risk. With regard to RSV, kids do not need to get another RSV shot. And for flu, most kids should get their flu shot every year. But again, speak to your child's doctor if you have any concerns specifically about your child. So for adults 19 to 65 years old, most adults can get one COVID shot each year. Adults who are at a higher risk of getting very sick should get 2 or more shots. And it's very important for adults to get a COVID shot if they're at high risk for getting very sick from COVID, they've never had a shot before, they live in a group setting, they work in a healthcare setting, they live with family members who are high risk, or they are pregnant or expecting to become pregnant. For RSV, most adults do not need to get another RSV shot, but adults who are 50 to 74 years of age and are high risk should get one RSV shot one time. This is not an annual shot, so this is not something that you have to repeat every year. With regard to flu, most adults should get their flu shot each year. Everyone should get the new flu shot every year, again, unless you are told by your doctor that you should not. And then more specifically for seniors 65 plus, most seniors should get at least one shot every 6 months, 2 shots per year. Seniors who are high risk may need more than 2 shots. With regard to RSV, all seniors 75 years and older should get one RSV shot, again, one time. This is not an annual shot. And for flu, most seniors should get their flu shot each year. So what does it mean to be high risk? For high risk babies and kids, this includes newborns and babies up to 2 years old, those who live in long-term care facilities or other group settings, babies and kids who have not had their shots or are behind in getting their shots, those who live with a family member who are high risk, babies and kids who have a sickness or health problem that makes it hard for them to breathe, babies and kids whose heart does not work as well as it should, those who have a health problem or medicine that they take which makes it difficult for their body to fight germs and other illnesses, and those who have been told by their doctor that they are overweight. And there are some others for high-risk adults and seniors. We want to keep in mind that it's not necessarily always the individual that may be high risk. If they're living with another adult who's high risk as well, it's important to keep that in mind because we want to make sure we're keeping our whole family unit healthy. So seniors who are 65 years of age and older, those who live in long-term care facilities, working in healthcare settings. I won't read through all of these, but essentially adults and seniors who have a sickness or health problem that makes it hard for them to breathe. Those who have memory loss or other brain problems, or those with a mental health condition. But again, if you have any specific concerns, speak to your doctor. And here's a chart that really summarizes this information very well. I know it's a lot. So this is kind of the quick and easy reference point. So some other HVHD highlights from throughout the year. So we're in the process right now of putting together our annual report for the fiscal year 24-25. So I just wanted to pull some bullet points from that annual report to share with you all tonight. So we're really excited to share that we launched phase 1 and phase 2 of our online property file integration project. And this is really exciting because it will allow community members to access property files online from their own homes. And it allows folks to complete and submit online applications. This is really great from a review perspective because we're able to expedite the review process. We've had over 160 online forms submitted since we launched this platform in May. So people are really assimilating and it's been going well. We have also expanded some of our community health programming. This includes things like mobile clinic physical exams, falls prevention programming, which was very well attended, home visits, Narcan training, question, persuade, refer training, teen driving safety training, diagnostic heart health screening, CPR certification, blood pressure screening, community conversations on various topics, radon kit distribution, lead education, mental health first aid, and the Gizmo curriculum for youth mental health. Across all of these programs, we had over 660 attendees, which is really fantastic. This fiscal year also marked reduced turnaround times for building applications, change of use applications, subsurface sewage disposal plan review applications, and well applications, which were all under 5 days on average. We also distributed 11 monthly newsletters to over 200 subscribers with a 45.1 open rate. The industry standard open rate is actually only between 15 and 25%, so in terms of engagement, that was very good. We also maintained 4 public data dashboards with an estimated 4,420 viewers. And we administered over 1,300 flu vaccines across 7 towns and over 30 routine immunizations. We actually contracted and are receiving payment from other local towns who wanted to take part in our flu clinic because they were happy with how they were carried out. Also, since I'm here, I just wanted to share a quick PFAS update. So the last couple of times I've been here, we've shared some of the updates at the federal and the EPA level regarding PFAS and the way in which it's regulated. So in April 2024, the EPA established legally enforceable levels for PFAS in drinking water. Public water systems, including community wells, were given until 2027 to complete initial monitoring. All of our public water systems here in New Milford are doing that monitoring, and a lot of the community wells are starting to, which is really great to see. And they were initially given until 2029 to comply with the maximum contaminant levels, although that has since been pushed back. So as of May 2025, the EPA plans to develop a rule to provide additional time for compliance, including a proposal to extend the compliance date to 2031. The EPA plans to issue a proposed rule this fall. Some information has started to come out, so I can continue to share that as it gets a little bit more finalized, and this rule will be finalized in spring of 2026. So current status of PFAS in New Milford, and this has largely remained unchanged since the last time I spoke about this. Private wells, with regard to private wells, HVHD is informed by DEEP when DEEP is made aware of an elevated PFAS test result in a private well. To date, DEEP and HVHD have been made aware of 3 private wells or residences with PFAS above that drinking water action level. And to date, DEEP and HVHD have been made aware of 4 private well results or residences with PFAS above the new EPA MCL, but below those Connecticut drinking water action levels. And just as a reminder, the drinking water action levels for Connecticut are 10, and the EPA MCLs are 4. And that's parts per trillion. So with regard to reports for public water systems, 3 of the public water systems in town had levels of PFAS that were not detected. And those are Laurel Ridge, Park Glen, and Twin Oaks. Public water systems that were below those EPA MCLs, 4 parts per trillion, were Carbon Hill, Forest Hills, New Milford Regional, and Pleasant View. And there were only 2 that were over the MCLs, but still below the drinking water action levels. And that was Dean Heights, and PFOS was documented as a 4 for the Dean Heights system. And PFOA was 7, PFOS was 6 for the Meadowbrook system. So for community wells, and we've continued to do this as a health district, HVHD is reaching out to owners of community wells within our jurisdiction to share guidance regarding the EPA's new MCLs and provide information on funding opportunities, because we understand that these infrastructure projects can be very costly. So some of the funding opportunities that do exist are through Connecticut Green Bank. They offer low interest loans. The New England Water Infrastructure Network, and the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. We also had a webinar back in June, and we talked about well types in construction, testing, PFAS, and septic maintenance. This was a really informative webinar. It was well attended, and I have to say we received some very good feedback from it. So I would recommend, if you're interested in any of these topics, or if you're just curious to learn, there's a lot of good information that was shared, and this webinar is recorded and available on our website. So with regard to DEEP's response to PFAS, at this time, DEEP will continue to respond to homes where there is a documented exceedance of 1 or more PFAS drinking water action levels. The lab utilized must be a DPH certified laboratory, so please do keep that in mind if you're going to test, and confirm that there are no quality control issues with the sample. When such a report is received, DEEP will offer to have a DEEP consultant retest the drinking water for PFAS. Then if the retest confirms that there is 1 or more drinking water action level exceedance, DEEP will proceed with offering installation of a filter to remove PFAS. Bottled water service is also offered. Here's some information on how the DEEP response has changed, and if this is applicable for you, I will certainly send the slides, and these will be available on our website as well, so I recommend taking a look at this information. And if you have any questions about anything, please do reach out to myself. And then with regard to PFAS, there are some other email addresses for the state and Connecticut DEEP.
Thank you, Amy. Any questions for Amy?
Very thorough.
Mayor?
I want to thank you for being thorough on something I had brought up or we had talked about a year ago or so. And I think the community, has to really watch this. And your effort here brings that forward. So let's keep it up.
Any other questions?
Thanks for a great update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Great update.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, item 10, update from Finance Director.
Olga.
Good evening, members of the Town Council and members of the public. I am here to report on our performance 2 months into the fiscal year. So if we start with the revenue reports, so the 2 months into fiscal year, our tax collections are close to 55%, which is on par with our prior year performance. So we're trending as expected. Some of the state revenue has come in. There is no straight line deliveries from the state. They just come in on their own schedule. But that's ongoing. No other disappointing news from the state at this time, and hopefully that will continue. We will not hear anything from them. Departments also are on track, as expected, similar to prior year performances. So far on the revenue side, we don't really see any red flags or nothing that we don't really know about. So if you have any questions, I can take that. And as far as interest rates, that's of course is a big factor for us, for our budget performance. We're still where we want to be with all the uncertainty that's going on the federal level. The interest rates did drop a little bit, but still above 4%. So for us, it is a good sign. That's where we want to be to meet our budget for the year.
Well, there's talk about probably one, but maybe two more rate drops this year. How is that going to impact?
It just depends the degree. If it's 25 basis points, we still should be okay. It just depends, how many basis points they're actually going to cut it by. So we'll see.
And Chris, as an aside, the Fed has been projecting rate hikes, and if you just take a look at, for instance, mortgage rates, they're actually increasing. They actually went up some basis points because they believe over the long term rates are going to re-escalate just due to the fact of the government's debt that they're going to have to pay off each and every year.
Interesting. All right, thank you.
I'll send you some stuff on it.
Any other questions for the revenue? Moving on to expenses, again, 2 months into the fiscal year, we are trending where we want to be. So far, no concerns really. There is an upcoming retirement in the police force, so that will present an opening. So we'll see what that might do, if anything, to the overtime. So we will be watching that line. But other than that, we are where we want to be 2 months into the fiscal year.
Any questions for Olga? Thank you, Olga.
Sure. Well, moving on to the item B.
Yes.
Item B is just hopefully the final touch to wrap up the fiscal year 25. It's just another care and force request for the town council to consider, as we are working on the year end to close fiscal year 25, upon the receipt of the final invoices from some of the contractors for the scope of work. They were unable to deliver the full scope of project. So that freed up some funds that was already appropriated for those projects. So that's the request to carry and force those balances to continue the work as planned and scheduled.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the carried and forced appropriations.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thanks, Olga.
Thank you, Olga.
Item 11, we have, I'll make the motion that we move to accept a business tax deferral at 7 Danbury Road as written in our packet.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Staying on economic development.
Okay, item, let me move it, or are we ready for that, you think?
We're still
That's right.
part of it,
Well,
right?
let's talk about it.
So, yeah. So I'd like to bring up Denise. So Denise, if you could come on up. One of the things that's brought a little bit about on public comment is economic development and increasing using natural resources as kind of a level through economic development. So one of the things that we're going to be using this year is, we all know that in the fall, New Milford sure is pretty. And we have wonderful foliage here throughout the town, whether it's up into Gaylordsville, Northville, up on Candlewood, all sorts of great spots to do some stuff. So as you're going to see here, we're actually going to be pushing out leaf peeping road tripping guide. So as Litchfield County now is, from some of the pontificators, Litchfield County is kind of the new Berkshires. And what better way to capture that market is the first town they come to in Litchfield County is our town. So it's a great opportunity for us to really capture part of that market. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit about it. Denise?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the Town Council. My name is Denise Whitman. I am the administrator for the Economic Development Department here at Town Hall. This evening, I'm excited and proud to present to you our very first Fall Tourism Guide, the 2025 Leaf Peeping Road Tripping Guide. Each of you have now received a printed copy of the Fall Tourism Guide, as well as the publicity flyer. Yes, the name is a little long, but it's catchy, and we hope it grabs attention and encourages people to open it up and explore. As you know, we are constantly discussing innovative ways to support the growth of our local businesses while also attracting new ones to our wonderful community. Tourism is one of those key areas we believe holds untapped potential, and that's what led us to create this unique and engaging initiative. New Milford and our surrounding areas offer some of the most breathtaking fall foliage in all of New England. With that in mind, we decided to think outside of the box and create a seasonal guide specifically for leaf peepers, those who love to drive, walk, hike, or even take a motorcycle or bike ride just to enjoy the brilliant colors and crisp autumn air. Our fall tourism guide takes readers on a journey through New Milford and beyond, featuring suggested scenic routes, local places to visit, stay, shop, and dine, 2 extended road trip itineraries, and an amateur fall photo contest, which runs through November 20th. Details are on page 27 of the guide. This guide is part of a larger campaign which is ongoing to drive tourism and foot traffic directly into our local businesses, especially during this picturesque season. We truly believe that more visitors mean more commerce, and more commerce supports long-term economic sustainability. To make the guide accessible to as many people as possible, we're offering it in 2 formats. An online interactive PDF accessible via QR code or link. This version can be viewed on phones, tablets, and PCs, and it can also be printed out by the user for convenience, especially during travel. A pre-printed physical guide available for free at Town Hall ensures that residents and visitors who prefer a physical copy or may not have easy access to technology are still included. Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the Town Council, in the coming days, we'll be launching this campaign publicly, both throughout the community and across our social media channels. Thank you for the opportunity to present this to you tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Kate?
Denise, this is great.
Thank you. Took
It's-
a very long time.
I know.
About 6 weeks.
And so if I'm,
About 6 weeks, and I could tell you this right now. I could read it to you out of my head.
so if I am driving, say I'm coming up from now Westchester and I come through Brookfield and I say, oh, isn't this lovely? And I say to my co-driver, look on your phone and see what's coming up here in this New Milford. They're gonna be able to find it?
If you have the QR code, and I can send it to you. That flyer that you have is actually a scannable QR code, which will take you straight to the drive to
Would it
give
be,
you all of that on your phone.
Well, okay, so we're driving.
gives you the whole
Okay,
presentation on your
We're driving,
phone.
and I say, go to some website in New Milford, see what go to the New Milford
It'll
CT
be on the
website.
website.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
So when I'm in a car, I wouldn't necessarily.
It'll be on-
Yeah.
That
Good.
link's going to be provided on social channels, as well as downstairs on the table. The flyer you see, there's going to be a pile of them. Somebody can walk by and scan it, downloads it to their phone. Everything's hyperlinked.
Can you
Thank
put it on our signs when you come into town?
If you go to a phone number, it'll dial the phone number. The map will put you on Google Maps. The hotel sites, depending upon, I was very cautious in creating this to not go out of our area, so you won't see hyperlinks to Travelocity or Vista or anything. It goes to their website, or New Milford Now if they are a hosted entity on our current town website. So it's very, very interactive.
One more thing, Denise.
Yes.
So when I'm thinking of driving, because, if I have time to sit and look over the
Yeah.
net at home, that's one thing. Is it possible that whatever the website is the link to get to this website is newmilford.ct.gov/,
Will it be on the town one and also be on New Milford?
but I'm
map?
asking, can we have it on a sign? I'm driving, I got a passenger, we're gonna go over the bridge. What does that say? It says newmilfordct.gov/, what did you call this thing? Leaf peeping. There, leaf peeping.
Could you clarify? I'm just trying to understand where you're.
I'm driving,
Like a
you're
yard
riding.
sign.
I say, what's it say on that sign?
We can QR code it, and we can put a link to social
But
media.
I can't stop and have you put your phone on a QR. I'm asking him. really.
We will look into that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll look into a third, basically.
Because when the
a third
peeping is
direction.
over, then you might want to put in the snow or whatever.
That's why this is ongoing, so I will be putting my hat
That's-
to the,
This is great.
the
You did a
snowman
great job.
side here relatively soon. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful.
Saying,
Thank
having,
you.
like, start to read it. Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
Any
Denise.
other
Wow.
comments,
Excellent.
questions for Denise? Thank you,
Okay,
Denise.
thank you.
Way to
Thank
go.
Good job.
Okay. Let's see, that was Denise, now you have East Street
Now we're
School.
gonna go 12A.
We did, 12A. Okay, so we're not gonna, you want to discuss this, or you want me to move it? I don't know where we're.
I would move it so we
Okay.
can have.
Let's have our
we
discussion.
can have discussion.
Okay, item 12A, I'd like to move that we adopt the homestead exemption ordinance, Chapter 19, Article 12, as provided by our assessor, Mr. Lastra.
And Randy, thank you. Brian, you can
Hey.
talk a little bit about some of the, little bit of the changes
Okay.
that you and Randy had talked about?
Right. So at our last meeting, there were some suggestions. For the record, Brian Lastra, tax assessor for the town of New Milford. There were some suggestions, questions about how the ordinance was written. One had to do with notice of new owners that move into town, that this would, obviously, the ordinance is set up to apply to the October 1, 2025 grand list, and all owner-occupied residences. So we put in an affirming statement that this ordinance is established for the October 1, 2025 grand list. And then further on, we have a notice section where we shall notify each person that owns residential real property in New Milford about this homestead exemption and their requirement to apply for it. And then we also put in a section with respect to the subsequent grand lists beyond October 1, 2025. And the town shall mail a notice to each new homeowner that purchases property in town. So we'll keep, obviously, we record the deeds and update our, not record the deeds, but update our records based on recorded deeds in the town clerk's office. So we will do a mailing probably each month as new owners buy property. And we'll also have to monitor those owners who change ownership, maybe add someone, delete someone. That's going to trigger, if they're already approved for the homestead, that'll trigger an inquiry. Beyond that, we had questions concerning appeals, so we didn't have any section in the ordinance originally. So now we have a section, any person aggrieved by the action of the assessor has the ability to go to the Board of Assessment Appeals, and then if they're not happy there, they can pursue it through the Superior Court. So those are pretty much what Randy and I discussed.
Mayor, after Tom's revisions, I reviewed them and I did some more research on it. And the mayor and I had a long discussion about this situation. And the fact is that this was authorized. It's legal. It's going to engender litigation. And the reason for that is because the counties, actually not towns, counties that I checked are engaged in litigation over this stuff. The cases generally hold in favor of the municipality or the counties. The reason for it, and it's been talked about earlier, the reason for it is because it's not a fundamental right to a tax exemption.
Right.
And the basis of the determination as to whether or not the failure to get a tax exemption when someone else does is not a fundamental right. It simply has to have really a rational basis. That's the law. The mayor and I talked about this again. That's not to say this is not going to engender litigation, because there is going to be an appeal right, and that's necessary. You have to have that in order to have a due process on any ordinance. There has to be an appeal right, and that appeal right is going to be to the BAA. After the BAA, the appeals are to Superior Court. The only cases that I found that have succeeded, and not in this state, because we're the first one that has this in this state, the only cases that have succeeded have been appeals of the taxation, not the unfair application of an exemption. So I'm not going to hold, give you any illusions or have any delusions. This is going to be an issue, but the fact is, it's lawful, and it will have to be defended. And Brian did. I didn't write this ordinance. Brian did, and he did a great job on it. There's only one word I have an exception to, and that's in 19-64, when it says that if the assessor is satisfied, it should be if the assessor determines, because the assessor makes the final determination that as to whether there's an exemption, and that's it. That's the change. So thank you, Brian. So that's what I have. Any questions? I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Randy, so let me make sure I understand what you just said. When there was litigation, the only ones that have been successful were because they felt the assessment of the
That's
property
right.
was
This was part and parcel of the ones that I saw were part and parcel of a normal tax appeal,
right,
in which they raised this issue as evidence that their tax was excessive and someone else's was not. That's a normal risk you have on tax appeals. I mean, we've done literally hundreds of tax appeals.
And I gotta believe with the current reevaluation, it's gonna come in so high
You're gonna have
across
that.
the board, we're gonna have that litigation anyway.
You're going to have,
whether we do this or not.
right, we're gearing up for it right now in other towns too. We have 33 in Torrington. So the fact is that this is a fact of municipal life. The mayor and I talked about this ad nauseum, and he did a great job on the ordinance. I can't say any more. Don't forget, this is virgin territory in this state. This is the first one. And I've gotten a few phone calls on it too. Kind of like the blind leading the blind, I guess. But in any event, he did a great job. And I can tell you that my job is law, it's not policy. So the fact is that I'll defend whatever has to be defended.
Mary Jane?
I know you've talked to other towns, and what kind of a reason are they not pursuing this?
They want to see what happens here.
Oh, great.
I mean, I'm just telling you what lawyers talk about, how lawyers talk. And they want my ordinance, which is his ordinance.
I do have a question.
So we lift each other's ordinances all the time. But and other towns are considering it, don't get me wrong. But they just saw it in the paper somewhere, I guess. It was in the paper. All over the state. That's why I get these phone calls concerning this one. That's why they want to see how we do.
Why not?
I mean, that's lawyering,
How much trouble we get into.
No, we're not going to get into trouble. We're going to get litigation.
Litigation,
But I've tried cases before, as you know. So it's just part and parcel of it. But it's not open and shut that it's just going to be accepted across the board. I think it should be, because there is a rational basis for it. But that's what's going to happen. Everybody knows, every municipal lawyer worth their salt knows that taxation equals litigation, no matter what the issue is.
So, question for both of you, I guess. Should it be the all hell break loose type thing, we do not have to continue this,
No,
correct?
it's a legislative act. The town council
That's
has the
right.
right to.
So if it just isn't working, for whatever number of reasons or one reason, then, and the balance is such, then we just say the following year, goodbye.
You
Go
can
back.
repeal it, you can modify it.
Adjust it, or modify it, right?
Yeah, you can take what steps you need. One of the issues comes up on a means issue, which was raised earlier.
Right.
You can do that, but the fact is that there has to be a rational basis.
Yeah.
And it's
But
not a
I just think
fundamental
it's good to know that this isn't something we're jumping into and will be forever in it.
right. Oh, no,
Yeah.
not if you, no, it's a legislative act.
Yep. Good job, Brian.
So, hypothetical question. The economy collapses in January, then what? And the commercial side is going to apparently absorb some of the...
Could you repeat the question?
could I repeat the question?
I can't hear.
Mary Jane asked Brian, what happens if the economy collapses in January? Will this commercial side have to absorb a debt that they can't, essentially?
Yeah, what's going to happen?
So, Brian, if I could just add, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong. So if you don't do this, because of the escalating value in residential property, is going to far outpace the growth of commercial property. So if we don't do this, right, the commercial property, some of these, we can give it for instance, will actually pay less in taxes than our homeowners that are paying taxes today. Is that correct, Brian?
That's right. I mean, what we're looking at is homes going up 55%, commercial going up 25%. So you already know what's going to happen there. The homes are going to make up a larger portion of the grand list. If you think of it as a pie, they're going to be paying more in taxes than they were previously as a percentage of the total budget. So, you know, that's what this is designed to try to mitigate. So, getting back to your question about the future, you know, we value as of October 1st, 2025. That's our taxable status date. That's our valuation date for this year. You know, we had a similar situation back in 2008 where the economy crashed, but the assessments didn't just change overnight. It wasn't until the next reassessment in 2010 that they get adjusted based on the market value at that time.
So why are we thinking that we're going to have this big increase? What is driving you to?
Well, you know, when you look at the trends in value over the last 5 years, housing prices are up. Commercial rents, the sales of commercial properties haven't increased at that same level. So, you know, rents have gone up a little bit on the commercial end, excluding apartments, but not 50%. So, you know, we don't have the final numbers yet, so we don't know exactly what the effect is going to be. But you got to make a judgment, right? Because something like this, implementing a homestead exemption, is going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort. So looking to mail out 10,000 applications. So the ordinance here is really to set up the process more than try to figure out what kind of exemption percentage we're going to use. So.
Yeah, and so, you know, it says what, between 5 and
35.
35. So
Yeah.
do we have any numbers like in between, like what that's going to look like? Do you have any
No,
calculations?
not at the moment. So right now, the contractor's finishing up their final review. They have to analyze sales through October 1st, so we haven't quite got there yet. But they'll turn over values to me like in October, and then I'll review those. And then in November, the notices will go out. So I'll have a better idea probably like in another month about where things are going to be. But in the meantime, you know, if we don't get work, you know, we don't move forward with this,
we're going to miss it.
We're right. And when you consider the time it takes to compile the grand list, you know, there's other parts to it, motor vehicle, personal property, we still have to keep working on those in addition to trying to deal with this exemption.
One real quick comment, just along with Ryan's talking about. Three of the lawyers that I talked to had the same issue. They thought that the statute had to carry a figure. It doesn't. The town council can determine that figure, but it has to be equal. It has to be for everybody.
Right.
One figure. And so that's not really Brian's job. I guess the question is, what effect would each percentage have on the grand list?
Yeah.
You won't know that until.
Right, we won't know that until
Grand list.
January. And then we can give you all the scenarios, right? At that point, and then you'll have to.
But then I mean, if we approve it tonight and
Tonight, you're approving the structure.
Right.
Then in January,
Not
once
the
you get the
percentage.
final numbers
Right.
that he'll have, then the council can approve
Can that with- you
the
can do that with a
percentage of what
resolution.
they want to do.
We don't do the percentage until he's had a chance to go through what's gonna happen.
Brian, in January, will you have a good idea of how many residences are primary residences?
Right.
You'll have that figured as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, we have a deadline December 31st for application.
Okay.
So by the, so you have a whole lot of things coming together at that time, right? We're finishing up the motor vehicle list. We're finishing up personal property. That carries, beyond January 1st because I usually sign a list at the end of January. This year, probably gonna be the end of February when I formally sign it. But probably by the middle of January, we'll at least have the numbers, with a 99.9%, we'll know with certainty what the numbers are gonna look like.
And do you expect, as part of an appeal, once the tax bills go out, somebody say, oh, I didn't know about this homestead exemption? Even though you send them letters and that.
Right.
And will they, and I guess it's maybe an unfair question to ask because we don't know how many of those, but would you expect that you would have to give someone if they appealed it based on that, even if they missed the deadline?
Well, exemptions in general have a deadline. And if you don't file by the deadline, you're out of luck.
Okay.
So
For that year.
For that year, exactly. So that's basically how all of our exemptions operate.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Thank you. So if we get to January and into February, and this turns into already something that's not looking like you had hoped, and it's not getting done, or it's much more complicated, or tons of appeals have come in, can anything be done at that time, or are we stuck with it until, is this in effect for a year, or can it be addressed before a year is up? If council says, wait a minute, this isn't looking like it's gonna take care of things.
I can address an issue, a sub-issue of that, if you will, attend to that. The ordinance is now drafted, simply authorizes this exemption. Doesn't say how much. I have to make one minor tweak, which is not material, so you don't have to worry about a public hearing, such that it shall be adjusted or may be adjusted annually, based upon a determination or resolution of town council. That's not a big deal. But the statute, the ordinance itself stays intact until repealed. So in order to not to have, the ordinance becomes the law of the town,
Right.
unless it's repealed. You can adjust the amount, 5%, 25%, whatever, which I don't recommend, but you can do that. But once you enact this, it's the law of the town. So it's not just something you can ignore any year, because it's mandatory.
No, not ignore, but could you repeal it?
Yeah, you can repeal it.
Yes. Or just, and not wait a full year.
But it has to be legislative action.
Right, I get that.
Can you
Okay,
do
so,
it, you're asking, can you do it before the year is up?
right,
Before the tax bills go out.
No.
well, you wouldn't really know it was a problem
Because you
until
don't know, right.
Well, you mentioned February, right?
well, you start to see things happening, and the budget's not done yet, et cetera, so we don't know what the mill rate's gonna be, but the mill rate, ideal situation, you do another responsible budget, and the mill rate will go down because the grand list
Has
blew
gone
up.
up, right.
Okay. I had asked for the copy of the application itself, and
Okay.
it's not in the packet,
All right.
and so I never got to see that before. And the other is, we have other opportunities for community members to get reductions in their taxes. For example, seniors who qualify with a lower income. One of the things we might have considered is raising that lower income number to allow more seniors to receive an exemption or a lower tax rate to keep their homes. The other is, This would cover 1 to 2 buildings plus an acre of property. Any acreage or buildings beyond that will be taxed at the 100%, the full amount. So someone who's trying to figure out the math in this might think they're taking their whole tax bill, when in fact they cannot. They can only get the exemption on 1 to 2 units and 1 acre of the full property.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're going to do as part of this is in February, everybody's going to get a notice of their assessment in November, but it's not going to have any homestead exemption because we haven't got to the filing period. But in February, so when people get their assessment in November, they should be thinking about, well, what's my house worth? And making a determination of whether to pursue the issue with the contractor, Vision Government Solutions, that's assisting us with the reassessment. They do the informal review first in November and December. And then, that should be the primary focus is the value reasonable?
Right.
Then when we get to February, we apply the exemptions based on the applications. Then we're going to know exactly what is the exempt value now for the homestead and how it affects the net grand list. That time we'll send a notice to everyone, and it'll show whether or not they have a homestead exemption or whether they received it. So now they'll see their assessment that they saw in November, and if they qualify for the homestead, minus whatever the amount is based on the percentage that you pick. So, we're trying to keep the public informed about exactly what the value of that exemption will be.
Alex just mentioned the two buildings.
One, it's up to 2 buildings.
It's up to 2 units.
2 units.
1 building, up to 2.
2 units.
Right,
Units.
so let's say
Like
it's
a
2.
duplex.
It's duplex, right? On 1 acre. What if my duplex is on 20 acres?
Yep, so the 19 acres is separate. That's how our grand list is set up now. We have the prime acre, up to an acre, then the dwelling value, then the outbuilding, so if you got a whole bunch of barns, and then your 20 acres. That's separate. So your exemption amount would be applied against the value of the first acre and the dwelling.
So if your house was not worth, I don't want to say not worth a lot, but let's say you have a rather old home and maybe, it's not up to par as you'd like it to be, but therefore you have your 20 acres that you use, say, for, well, it would be maybe 460, whatever that is, if you're growing trees on it. But whatever you're paying now for that acreage, 19 acres, isn't going to change.
Right.
It's going to go up or down like it has all this life.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I think that's an important thing for people to understand, since we do have many people, many people who have more than 1 acre.
Right. Can I add to mine though? Because
Yeah,
of what you just said.
Yeah, you just brought that up.
So if you already have an exemption or a reduction because you are a farm.
Right.
490.
20 acres.
490 status.
Okay.
Yep.
So
That-
can you apply at all for your main house?
Oh, yeah.
Your 1 acre.
Your
Right.
1 acre and the
Every-
house could
Correct.
be, and the rest, the other property would still be the farm?
Still being the 490.
Right, exactly. So that wouldn't change. And that farm's assessment, as you know, is based on use value, not
Right.
market value.
Right.
Yeah.
And the 490 means you must have a minimum of how many acres?
Well,
Contiguous.
typically 3 acres. Yeah.
Any other
Right.
questions for Brian?
Just
I have 490, and it's on 2 acres or less. It's a greenhouse.
That could happen. Yeah.
Okay. Mary Jane?
One last thing, that means if I didn't think that was such a hot deal, I don't have to apply.
Correct.
That's right.
Right. Right.
Let's make that clear too.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know anybody that wouldn't, but.
You never know, Brian.
Mary Jane?
But you can see the exemption's pretty straightforward. The application,
Yes.
pretty straightforward, asking for people that the owner's information and proof of residence, Connecticut, we start off with things like driver's license, car registrations, that sort of thing, just like we normally do with some of our other residence-based exemptions.
Any
And then-
other discussion for Brian? Mary Jane?
So I think I asked this question the last time too about how you think this is going to affect your budget.
Right.
Like what are we looking at for
Yeah,
next
so
year?
for this year, I was working on it today. We got a couple mailings that are probably gonna cost us 10,000 each. So that's like 20,000. Got computer programming at QDS to deal with this exemption and how it interfaces with all other exemptions and our tax credit programs, elderly and disabled. I'm thinking that's, based on my conversations, about 15,000. And then we're gonna need part-time help. We're gonna need help. We're looking at least one person, maybe two individuals in a full-time, in one role. But that's between now and February. So now we're looking at around 24,500 for a person to assist us. So the total bill between now and March is like 61,000 to implement the exemption. Going forward, we'll have to see, how things look, through our experience with this exemption. We normally don't go out and solicit information from people about an exemption this widely, where people are widely eligible. So we have about 450 houses that transfer a year. So that means there's 450 new homeowners that we're going to have to deal with. We have other transfers between family members. Those are 100-ish, 150 a year. So going forward, I'm not sure, what our staffing is going to have to look like to maintain this, because this is going to be an exemption that goes beyond anything we've ever dealt with before. We have elderly, and disabled. We have around, I think, of 350 people we deal with, but we deal with like 180 of them 1 year, 180 in another year. So we're not in processing their applications over a 3-month period. So we're not, that's a lot different than this, obviously. So, but when we're putting together the budget for next year, that'll have to be a consideration. Yeah.
The intent is to keep these people on then. Okay. And how much will the legal fees go up?
Depends on the litigation.
Yeah.
And you look at the legal fees that we'd have to encumber once we do this. Without it, we're gonna get sued. Even if you did nothing, we're gonna get sued.
You mean after the revow?
After the revow, we're gonna get sued.
That's why it's only 33 from Torrington already.
Yep.
Really?
And they're going through a revow right now.
33 appeals. We defend the city of Torrington.
Oh, okay.
We got 33 of those already.
How many do you typically have every year?
Well, last time, all the values only went up by 8%. We really only had, I think, 5 appeals, right, from the last reassessment.
Before we did. Before, a lot more than that before.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't here then, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah, 2010 must have been pretty much fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What would you say an average appeal would be? I mean, I maybe that's.
You mean the cost of it?
Yeah.
Well, now with the new rules, every appeal, it used to be the plaintiff had to prove their case. They'd have to provide the appraisal. The new rules require us to have an appraisal in addition to the plaintiff for every appeal. That, and appraisers are more expensive than lawyers. So, that's not funny.
No,
It's true.
it's
You know this. Pete and I talked about this.
Yeah.
So the fact is that you're talking between $20,000 and $25,000 for appraisals. On
residential home?
No, not in residential, on major appeals.
Right.
Like First Light, that's costing.
Yep.
5,000 to 6,000 for an appraisal and litigation testimony is not unusual.
And to me, just my own self, I'd rather be defending the ability to save taxpayers money than defending a revow where the property values went up too high and they're claiming that we taxed them too much. So I'd rather be in that camp where the public knows that we're trying every lever we possibly have to mitigate it. Because what I heard today, and I've heard from a few people too, you know, if you're a senior citizen and you're on fixed income, so you may be land rich, you may have paid off your house, right? And this property, your property now go 50, 60%, and we're not doing anything we can to help mitigate that, where we have the ability to do so, to help them. I think we're helping the most vulnerable. I think that's something we should definitely look at doing. And as Randy said, I myself am getting calls from other municipalities saying, I didn't even know this was even happening. How'd you guys even find this? What? So I think it's a great opportunity. The downside is if it, for some reason, somehow, I don't see how it could be, but if it's not effective, you guys can repeal it the following year.
Well, it's not as if we're gonna walk off the plank to try it out. I mean, we can stop. Might be a little painful, maybe we'll have some appeals. But, you know, we do wanna keep the legal profession going.
We're okay.
Since we are the guinea pigs, I just wanted to,
Absolutely, right.
okay. Where's the 61,000 coming from this year's budget?
I would
Mr.
suggest
Mayor?
it coming out of contingency.
I would second that.
Repeat that?
Contingency. Chris?
Yeah, I guess just from my point of view, other towns have been starting to go through this, and they haven't utilized this as an option to provide some relief for the residential taxpayers. When I say relief, I think everybody's tax bill is going up. Nobody's tax bill is going down through this reeval. But the rate at which it will hit residents would just be crazy. I mean, there will be torches and pitchforks out in front of town hall Devastating. when those tax bills come in. So, and I agree, the litigation is going to be there as well, no matter what we do. So, I think at least we try and hold down a little bit for the residents. And I think that's the best we can do.
And the larger, I think, I can say the larger thing that we'll have to work and decide is the percentage. So this is the entry
It's the beginning.
into the, hopefully that telescope will be all working and we can find the answers up there.
Well, you've got two levers, right? You got this and then
In the middle.
Yep, yep.
Just real quick, Brian and I know the dilemma we're in is we had 3 lines. This is a 3-line statute.
Right.
Authorizing this, gave us no guidance whatsoever.
Right.
And that's why I think that, and Brian and I think Brian agrees, the rate, if you're gonna adopt this ordinance, the rate of relief has to be set annually. Can't be one size fits all every year. And it doesn't say we can't do that.
Right.
In the
It
statute.
doesn't, right, it doesn't say you can't do that.
So until a judge tells me that, DeBelli, you should have made him do that, as far as I'm concerned, the guidance they gave us was nil, the legislature. And I'd rather have, if you're gonna do this, I'd rather have you be able to have a fluid rate that can be adjusted on an annual basis by the legislative body. Not by town meeting, not by pitchforks and torches, but by the legislative body, if you're gonna do this. That's my recommendation. If I have to, just one little modification of the ordinance, which is not a big deal.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Let's close this.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Now back to Common Waters.
Okay.
12B, update on East Street School.
Thank you. Just a quick update. Right now, we had a bid process come out. We had one bidder that did bid on the project, and that was Valone, who came and presented to the town council. Right now, he is gathering all of his costs with the subcontractors. He would then bring it forward. We're continuing on negotiating once we get those. So that's kind of where we are right now with East Street School.
Good.
Any questions on that so far?
That is the gentleman that we had the
Correct.
presentation.
Surprised only one bid? I am.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, economic development, kind of gave a brief update before. Just real quick, statistically, statewide unemployment's at 3.8%. New Milford, we are at 3.7%, which is good. We're still under the state means. Some other towns of our similar stature are kind of around where we are with that. Couple of quick infrastructure things that I didn't mention before. The Lanesville Firehouse Expansion Project. The contractor is moving equipment and material onto the site. That's in preparation of the next phase of the project. We're actually doing the Max Roof project as well for the Max Roof.
Well done.
And the contractor scraped off the loose material and is starting to removing the metal cap on that roof. Also, a big thank you to Ray and Matt Oniglia from O&G Industries, as they gave a big donation, of which is council approved, for a brand new playground, which is at Carlson's Grove, and we did a ribbon cutting there. And already a bunch of kids are already using it, so that's great. I want to thank Park and Rec Chairman Alfred Esposito. We had Director Dan Calhoun, Foreman Blaze Tuz, Events Director Denise Domastro, Park and Rec Commissioner Paul Manfredi. We all were there to do the ribbon cutting and let Ray Oniglia do the cutting with the big scissors. And excited for, we are now a cultural district. So we have plays at Theater Works. Now we have the New Milford High School is going to do their fall play, which is a play that goes wrong. I highly suggest that we all go out and see those wonderful actors and actresses. And, Mariel Center is still doing some amazing things. And we have the Merwinsville Hotel. And then for those that haven't been to the one-room schoolhouse in Gaylordsville, that and they're open on weekends. What an amazing little schoolhouse. They still have all of the old desks out it used to be. Great pictures, lots of articles on what it was. And one of the things that I found super unique is you still have this structure where you can go into, and it was built when George Washington was 8 years old.
I remember, yeah.
And the last class I believe was 1969. Yeah. And I was talking when they did the 300th celebration, I was talking to a couple of the alumni that were there. Amazing. Yeah. Just amazing. So if you haven't been there, if you're watching this or if you're here, you've got to go up and see it. It's amazing.
Leaf peeping. When you're on your leaf peeping riding, go look.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we're moving on to item 12D.
Yes.
I would like to move that we move to name the bandstand on the green officially the New Milford Bandstand, and may it never be called a gazebo. That's no G word, right? Do I have a second? Okay.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone.
All righty. Item 12E, I would like to move that the town council approve the meeting schedule for our meetings for 2026. Everybody has a copy of that, I believe.
Second.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Mayor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
Any abstentions? Thank you.
For you, it's a half acre and 1 unit. Do you hear me, Mr. Cosgrove? For you, it's a half an acre and 1 unit, just because of that. Okay, I'd like to move on item 12F, that we set on Tuesday, October 14th, in the E. Paul Martin Room at 6:20, a town meeting to appropriate $2,586,000 out of the Board of Education's capital reserve account to fund capital items which are listed in an attachment that we had for 12F.
Second.
Any discussion? Olga, do you have any, anybody have any such? Chris and then Alex and then Mary
Maybe I
Jane.
couldn't see it in my handout, but I.
The same one as before. Yep, that's it.
I didn't.
Oh, it's the same one as from a few months ago?
Yes.
Yes,
Additional.
that's
Yep.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
October 14th, 6:20 PM.
We have questions over
Alex,
there.
and then Alex?
When we voted on our budget, we already appropriated monies. So I'm not sure why we have to do it again.
Great question. I had the same question, and I deferred to our finance director.
So basically that comes from the interpretation of the charter. The charter stipulates that if a municipality makes an additional appropriation above the fiscal year appropriation, then there are limitations. If the appropriation in aggregate is below $500,000, which for the fiscal year 26 comes to about 1.6 million, no town meeting is required. It just town council board of finance approval is sufficient. Once the aggregate amount of additional appropriation exceeds that threshold, then town meeting is in order. And it's section 600 or something. And that comes basically this section of the charter was discussed with the auditors just to confirm, because it is basically the first time when Board of Education capital request is put forward for the town meeting. And it was confirmed that it is an additional appropriation. From my point of view, it comes from the situation where the referendum sets the original appropriation for the fiscal year for each town and Board of Education. Now that we are in the fiscal year, Board of Education is seeking to spend an additional funding on top of the general fund appropriations. So, by definition, it is additional appropriation because the town reports our fiscal year operations on the government-wide financial statements. So all of the funds are being reported and presented. So if approved, the recommendations to the taxpayers is in the fiscal year 26 to spend certain amount of money that was appropriated through the referendum, plus an additional sum of money from the capital reserve, which exceeds $500,000. The argument can be made that the funding comes from prior year surpluses, and those surpluses were originally appropriated in those prior fiscal years. That is the fact, but both town and Board of Education have the power to do the transfers during the fiscal year. But we cannot create new lines and make new appropriations. And that's why surpluses, we both see surpluses, is because during the year, previously approved appropriations through the budget did not, reach the budgetary estimate, hence the surplus. It is still unspent, I guess primarily funded from the taxpayers' funding. It's unspent funds for prior years, and now they are being reappropriated for new purposes. So it is an additional appropriation.
So what was the appropriation last year?
For what?
For the Board of Education when they asked for it?
I'm not sure, but I believe it was 1.2. I wasn't here, we don't discuss schools, but it was
1.2, Randy?
something like that. I remember it was about $1 million when I look back.
No,
It's over. I'm not sure what the grand list was at that point. It's last year.
Well, I think we need to get those numbers straight. I would like to see what it was last year. We've never had this
Do you
happen
know?
before. We've never had to go to a town meeting, as far as I can remember, 20-something
Absolutely.
years.
Because I mean, it's only the last couple of years that the request, kind of exceeded and then reached like even $1 million. In the past, there were no such requests, so.
We have
Oh, yeah,
someone
there
who
were
knows
requests
here.
What?
Do you want to ask her?
I'm just not sure though, even if we have the number, like, so even if that's the case, so.
Doesn't change.
I just started looking mid-August, so.
Well, I mean, listen,
But
either
something
way,
got money to it,
they
so.
requested the money, they have the right to request the money.
Right, it's their money.
It's their money, and if we appropriate it, it looked like the list that we went through the last time was very appropriate.
Right, and we.
This is just about whether it's a town meeting or not.
Right.
That's what I'm asking.
So the charter says that once the aggregate amount of additional appropriations exceed $500,000, town meeting is required.
So really, it's not appropriation, it's just a transfer, correct?
It's not a transfer, it's a duly defined purpose for previously appropriated monies for other purposes in the prior fiscal years. It is reappropriation. If you consider this a transfer, you would never have to come to the town council. You can just transfer the funds as you see fit and then place all those orders before June 30th. But the board, as a town, there are processes, and each Board of Education and the town side, we have the ability to make transfers within the fiscal year. But the town and Board of Education do not have the ability to reappropriate the funds, and that's how surplus even accumulates. It's because the previously appropriated lines came under budget, and the aggregate amount of those unspent appropriations result in what we call the surplus. And the surplus is being put aside. And now for that surplus, a new purpose was defined. And the recommendation is to the public to spend those remaining funds for brand new purposes. Projects, purchases, and whatever. And that those new expenses will occur starting with fiscal year 26, once approved, in addition to previously appropriated monies as part of the referendum. So in essence, the recommendation to the taxpayers is to spend fiscal 26 adopted budget plus additional funding for these newly identified needs. So in essence, the original budget has been exceeded, hence it is additional appropriation. And now we looked at the charter says, once the $500,000 of the grant is exceeded, town meeting is needed. Anything above, until the limit is reached, there is no need for town meeting. Once we get there, it is what it is.
So we need to set a town meeting.
Superintendent?
The way it was determined, and what discussed with the orders, yes, town meeting is in order.
Superintendent? Do you have a question? Sure.
One important consideration related to the charter is that it has to be consistently applied. And so last year, when we were over what I believe would be the trigger amount, there was no town meeting. And the charter still existed as it is. So that's the question.
So if we made a mistake last year, we should make another mistake this year?
I think it's about the application of the charter, not a mistake.
If you guys are going to talk about I'm the chair of operations, and the reason why I'm here tonight is really for clarification. I think I followed the Capital Reserve the last 24 years, and it has been something that's served this town very, very well by all those prior to us sitting on all these boards. It's something we should be very proud of. But to that, I was a bit surprised when I had asked at operations why we couldn't move forward with the projects, because they went to operations, facilities, the board, the town council approved, the board of finance approved, and then we find out that there's a town meeting that's required. Just because we did it last year, that's a trigger. Two wrongs don't make a right. I'm here to understand the process, because I think the taxpayer needs to understand the process. Right. So I went back and said, okay, if you check with the auditors, and is it posed as a transfer or a special appropriation? If it's posed as a special appropriation, that would trigger, based on our charter, the amount of a town meeting. If it's posed as a transfer, and the money's already been appropriated, and you take a look at the referendum ballot on June 11, which says the Board of Education shall be appropriated 76 million, blah, 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 it states that the voters have voted on that appropriation. So how could this be additional monies if the voters already voted each year on that dollar amount? I guess I'm confused how it turns from a transfer to a special appropriation when each and every taxpayer knows what they voted on, just like you had a carrying force 20 minutes ago. They voted on it. So how is it extra money?
Are you referring to the
Go ahead, Olga.
Are you referring to the motion when it was appropriated to transfer the surplus into capital reserve?
There are several motions. The motion the board takes the motion and the town council adopts that motion to transfer that money, end of the year balance, into the capital reserve account, which basically the capital reserve fund, which was designed June 24th, 1995, articulates how that fund should be governed. Now the charter, I'll leave that to our town attorney. I'll respect any decision put forward because we need to know what that is. And we also need to know that the town is tied into that trigger point.
Absolutely.
So it's not just us, it's the town as well. Is that fair to say, Mayor?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So as Olga, my finance director, let me know that if this is the case, $1 that we ask out of capital reserve, we have to go to a town meeting.
So, and the town had so many town meetings last year because the threshold was exceeded. But, so accounting-wise, there's still, the fact that when at year end, when there is a motion to transfer the surplus from general fund into capital reserve, this is actually in essence happens, and if you look at the financial statements, even our general fund, that surplus is shown as expense.
Yep.
And it's a vehicle to commit the funding for the Board of Education needs, and it's a commitment that the origination of the expenses starts with the Board of Education.
I
Board of
understand.
Education recommends how to spend.
But then the motion, why is the motion be to transfer in and to transfer out?
Because it's an intra-fund transfer. We are one entity. It's just a general fund is a separate fund that operates on a fiscal year basis only. It starts with this year, it ends with the surplus or whatever your financial position. Capital reserve is a multi-year fund where if the funding goes in at one rate, depending what's available, but it's being spent out of based on other motions or appropriations, and they don't have to necessarily meet, equal, right? You can put in $1 million, you can spend $5 if you have available funding for prior years. So the transfer in, transfer out terminology comes from our internal operations because the town has a multitude of funds. And it does happen when we transfer funds, it's still, same source of money, it's same money, but it resides in a separate fund because that fund is governed by a certain purpose.
I understand,
So-
and again, this is for my clarification, after all these years, I said what happened. So, and I think that the public needs to know, because at first, some may think that there's an additional tax bill out there of $2.5 million, and that's not the case. That money was already set aside for the taxpayer. They voted on those monies to be designated to the town through referendum.
Absolutely, and
So
now.
I put that on
Right.
record, that's not additional taxation.
And the motion does say from the Board of Education capital reserve, because it is a completely separate fund, and it can only be spent once the funding is available.
That's the actual motion to the capital reserve. The primary motion to the taxpayer, 11, on the ballot, says, we, the town of New Milford, allocate the appropriation, that ballot right here, in the amount of $76,332,000. This is just this year's ballot to give you an idea, and the terminology is to be appropriated to the annual Board of Education and to the town, their dollar amount. The terminology is appropriated.
Yes, but
That's in another sentence.
wait, so the ballot is a general fund appropriation. And as a part of our budgetary process, the budget is being published multiple times because it's a robust process, because this public, that's what constitutes the individual appropriations and the lines and the departments within the budget. And the board and the town has the power to make transfers between those line items.
You can't transfer from capital reserve.
Exactly, because it fits within the general fund. I'm talking about transfers between lines within the general fund. And then all unspent funding from those individual appropriations that amount to $76 million, there's a decision to put the unspent monies from those individual lines into capital reserve, a multi-year fund for other Board of Education needs. But now when the need comes to actually spend out of that completely independent separate fund that was funded by previously appropriated taxpayers' money, that in itself becomes a new spending on top of your currently adopted budget. So in essence, for fiscal 26, the recommendation is to spend 76 million out of general fund plus 2.5 million from capital reserve fund. And that's what's happening, so it is on top of the originally appropriated balance amount for the fiscal year 26.
Okay, so the opinion is moving forward that this is the process that it's going to be. That's the opinion.
It was always the process, or should have been, yes, and it has been.
But it wasn't last year.
So, I mean,
So that's why we're also questioning, it was not last year.
Superintendent?
which is, you know, then it wasn't.
But that's a valid question, is it
So
not?
therefore, I'm just gonna look something up for a second.
Superintendent?
Olga, if it's additionally expended money on top of the 76 million, in your view, how does that impact MBR?
It doesn't. It has nothing to do with general fund. General fund is general fund, capital reserve is capital reserve. But as an entity, we are reporting town-wide financial statements. Every single fund is being reported. The spending requirement only applies to actual annual budget. So that's very separate.
Okay.
Okay.
I appreciate the clarification, but please know we're getting these questions on our side as
But
well.
and just to,
All right.
actually, if I just may finish
Certainly.
this up. So I am just looking, so Board of Education request was for last year was $1.4 million.
Yeah, in addition to ESG.
1.4 million?
Plus ESG?
Yes, ESG slightly, is always slightly different because it's already, governed by a separate fund.
The ESG's in the capital reserve, that's where we took it from.
It's, yes, but there's still, because it goes to another town fund. But the threshold was 1.6 million, half a mil. So ESG aside, because it's already spoken for savings from utility that basically is designated to go for towards the ESG lease. So it was $1.4 million appropriation for other purposes, and the threshold last year was 1.6 million based on the grant list, 2023 grant.
So it was below the threshold?
It was below
Yes.
the threshold.
Even though you took the energy systems repayment on?
Yes, because
Yes.
yes, energy system was it's treated differently because it's still within our own entity. We have a separate ESG fund that we both sides fund through the savings in order to meet our lease payment.
Alex? So thank you, Olga, because it's confusing. So
Well,
good, thank you.
It's
Okay.
in new territory because again, I think it's only last 2-3 years when the capital requests, on both sides have been greater because of the last year years of performances. If we look back, we didn't have surpluses like that in the past, so we have not experienced spending mid-year spending to that degree in prior years.
So in the end, this is a council that is supporting this money going to the Board of Education. That's a fact. And now we're looking for the town meeting to support that. And it is not making any changes to anyone's taxes.
That's the important thing. That is the
Correct.
question.
So,
That needs to be out there.
So Alex, I think you're exactly right. We need to put that out there. And I, for one, am a huge proponent of using surplus for capital items on both sides. Because it saves taxpayer money in the end. So I'm a big proponent of that.
So
All
that's,
right.
Yeah,
So-
but the public needs to know there
Right,
is no
that's-
tax
that's
increase, there's
the-
no additional bill, there's no nothing coming.
took a little while to get to this, but now we're there, so there we go.
So,
Yes. And
yeah,
are
we
very
voted, we already
supportive.
voted for it.
And we're still there. 9-0 for this.
Is there a motion on the floor?
So, yes, sir. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you, everyone.
Bob, it's your turn.
Mayor?
I was so surprised. Mr. Mayor, I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.